Gemar Chatima Tova, may you be sealed with blessing in the book of life. On the eve of the holiest day of the year, let's imagine one of the most mundane. A morning might begin with the iPhone's alarm. A few clicks ensures that in mere minutes, coffee would be ready at the Starbucks counter. At work, every question found its own resolution as search engines and AI instantaneously provided clear answers. Right on schedule, after Waze wound its way around the traffic, Uber Eats delivered dinner to the front door, confirmed by a text with a photo. The TV show resumed at 18 minutes and 36 seconds, exactly where it left off the night before. Each element was standard. It was a good day, productive even. How many of us have had a day like this? Lying in bed at the end of the day, a realization emerges. An entire day, exceedingly productive passed without any meaningful human interaction. Technology fills our days with efficient solutions to our daily tasks. But is efficiency the same as connection? Is convenience more valuable than community? Technology may be brilliant. It might be the smartest thing that we think is in our room, but it is only a tool. There is a danger in our reliance. It's not just that machines will outsmart us, although one day they might. Maybe they have already. It's that in chasing convenience, we risk losing our connection to other people, and we risk losing our humanity. Since the 3rd century, the rabbis have put it simply, "B'makom she'ein anashim hishtadel lihiot ish." In a world without humanity, strive to be human. In a moment when automation is increasingly pervasive, Judaism pushes us to prioritize people over perfection and to only be the best that we can be. In fact, the Midrash reminds us that there is no righteous person on earth who does only good and never sins. Our tradition recognizes that no one is flawless. We are not perfect. Even the most righteous among us are just human. What does it mean to be human? Let's go back to the end of the 19th century to the home of Rabbi Moses Margolis. One Friday afternoon, a woman came to the rabbi's home. She was carrying a chicken that had a hole in its stomach. She came to ask the rabbi if it was kosher, suitable for her dinner table. First, the rabbi's son examined it and said with certainty, "The chicken must have swallowed a needle, which punctured its stomach. According to Jewish law, the hole makes the chicken treif, not kosher." His father shook his head. Rabbi Margolis didn't answer right away. Instead, he brought his son in close and said softly, "My son, we know Rachel. We know she's a widow, alone and struggling. If we declare her chicken treif, she and her children will have nothing to eat for Shabbat. Here, Jewish law gives us room for compassion, so let us make it possible for her family to have a good Shabbos." This is what makes us human and what differentiates us from AI. A machine can apply rules, ask it a question, and we know that it will tell you if something is or is not kosher, but it cannot see the whole picture. We know that AI can answer our questions, but the onus is on us to ask the right ones. Like, why is this woman asking? And what is to be gained by following the exact letter of the law? But even more so, it is our responsibility to be thoughtful with our questions. We can see the person struggling to put Shabbat dinner on the table. Algorithms cannot. Humanity is more than just a series of rules, more than binaries, more than algorithms. What makes us human is having the ability to recognize each other's struggles, to read between the lines, and understand what's at stake. Over the past several years, I have searched for this kind of humanity, for the kind of compassion that Rabbi Margolis modeled. I found it in what to some may be seen as one of the most unassuming of places, in a nondescript room with nothing more than a pot of coffee and metal folding chairs in a circle. The incredible part, though, is that when these rooms fill, they become some of the most welcoming places that I have ever experienced, especially when someone new walks in. In the recovery world, there are two branches of fellowship, one for the person in the struggle and one for those who love them. Al-Anon is for loved ones. I felt torn up inside, hollow in the place where the relationship with my sibling used to live. I felt alone. And it took me a long time to try an Al-Anon meeting because I was scared and unsure of what I would find. I did not know that I would find community. I would find people who could understand almost the exact shape of my brokenness and then meet me with empathy. The first time I walked in, a sense of understanding seemed to transcend the room. No one asked me to explain why I was there, and everyone around the circle spoke in the first person about their fears, about their limits, and about love. Someone opened the meeting by reading from a laminated card. Someone else passed me tissues, and a stranger looked at me deep in the eyes from across the circle and said, "Keep coming back." This whole experience was brand new to me, and yet each moment felt familiar and comforting. From the scraping of the chairs to the warmth of the paper cup, and even to the taste of the mediocre coffee. Most of all, I felt supported by the nods around the circle that said to me, "You're not alone." And so for the first time in a long time, I could breathe. Al-Anon describes meetings as a safe haven for recovery, a place where acceptance, understanding, and love can be found among people who share common struggles. One of the most healing parts of the experience is the simple chance to voice our dilemmas out loud, confident that we won't be judged for being honest. We learn by listening, by hearing possibilities that we would never consider on our own. Everyone is free to express themselves. When we share openly, without fear of interruption or judgment, each one of us can feel safe. And in that safety, we have space to heal and then to grow. When each person instinctively shows up for one another, not with answers, not with solutions, merely with their humanity, what a blessing. These rooms taught me that before I can stand with others, I have to be honest about where I am, whether it's naming my limits, sharing my experiences, or telling my truth. Knowing I bring myself, my whole self, wherever I go is important because when I show up with my brokenness, it gives me the awareness to see the same thing in other people. We all come into these communal spaces with our own struggles and pain. And you can see it if you look around. A voice that wavers, maybe fighting back tears as they pray. A parent questioning if they can be in the room, afraid their child is being disruptive. Someone who arrives with a water bottle, who might be self-conscious that they cannot fast this year. the one who slips in late because they were checking in on a loved one who was struggling. My friends, these are not unusual situations. Everybody has stuff and communities of belonging, real communities of belonging, honor each other's lives, our real lives. Torah teaches us this in one of its very, very earliest stories. Picture the world way back when. There was only one person. Evening settles. A breeze moves through the trees. God has already called everything good. Rivers keep their course. Stars take their place in the sky. Trees bear their fruit in season. Everything is working, but nothing is shared. The first person points to a streak of color in the sky. No one is there to share the sense of awe. As the animals were named, no one was there to offer suggestions. There's only one cup for coffee. It is a full world, but a lonely one. And then God brings the human a companion, because humans are not meant to be alone. In this moment, life moves from solitude to relationship. And as the first conversations begin, holiness emerges in the world, connections are created, and community is eventually built. Humans thrive with interpersonal connections because they are a natural part of the authentic human experience. We have them. AI does not, because despite all of its capabilities, AI is still artificial. In a world that is moving us toward automation, hyper-personalization, and as a result, increasing isolation, Judaism urges us to prioritize being present with one another, for each other, to transform each circle of chairs, each table, each pew into a sacred space where we can look at those sitting across or next to us, to look them in the eyes, maybe even to feel the warmth of their presence, to respond with compassion. From that first conversation in the Garden of Eden to this very night of Yom Kippur, the goals of being human have not changed. To make room at the table for one another, to cherish our quieter days and then return to one another, to always choose connection over convenience. You can keep your technological tools if you want, but let them help you run your errands, not your relationships. And with the time you save, spend it on people, so that one day, every day really, in 5,786, together and on purpose, we will all strive to be a little bit more human. Ken Yehi Ratzon. May it be God's will.